Well, you might have been woken up overnight to loud thunder, rain, and as those showers and storms moved across the state.
Yeah, let's check in with meteorologist Halen Wilhite, who's sharing rainfall totals and storm reports this morning. Halen.
Yeah, what a noisy night. I was one of those few people that did get woken up by those storms in the middle of the night, but they definitely left a trail of some storm reports, at least in the form of some damaging winds and some hail, especially in north central Kansas. Pretty large hail, almost softball size hail reported just in the northeast of Prairie View. Golf ball size hail near Grove, Beloit, Phillipsburg, quarter size hail near Hill City. But wind gusts, they were also a big culprit to some of those thunderstorms. We did see gusts almost up to 90 miles an hour near Smolin, Salina 77 miles per hour, Harrington 74 miles per hour. So very gusty winds overnight. But in addition, with all the damaging reports, we did see at least quite a bit of some heavy rainfall across much of central and eastern Kansas. Unfortunately, western Kansas, you didn't manage to get a drop of rainfall, but some of you definitely got more than others. 2.81 inches in Great Bend led to a little bit of some localized flooding. Larned a little bit over an inch. La Crosse just under that, and even areas in the Wichita Metro, we did see some of you get a little bit over an inch near Keachai, and of course here at our studio, a little bit over an inch. The airport did pick up at least about 3/4 of an inch, which is roughly what we've been seeing across the area. To the east, however, a little bit more rainfall near Eureka, El Dorado, Beaumont, and Cassidy. Really good numbers all across the board, but still just not quite enough to help break those drought conditions. Again, we certainly need some more rain in Cheney Res, and unfortunately didn't get as much over there as we would have liked to have seen. But we are going to be seeing some changes down the road. Take a close look at that forecast coming up.